that time of week again. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because I talk about geeky things, and today we're going to talk about Beast Morphers like we do every Monday. Time for episode 7 of season 2. Let's do this. If you guys want to miss the full episode recap, you can go ahead and hit this timestamp here below, but realize that you will be missing how I tell the story, which gives you a little insight into how I feel about it, but it does involve spoilers, obviously. So if you hit this timestamp, I will try and keep the spoilers to an absolute minimum in my thoughts. So let's just get down to it. Let's just start by saying I felt about this episode like I felt about the last episode. It was just dumb. There were just so many holes that it's hard for somebody who studied film, and not only studied film, but aspires to be a director, aspires to be a producer, aspires to be the Power Rangers showrunner. Oh boy, yikes. There's a lot of yikes in this particular episode. Hasbro, you made the best decision you could by replacing Judd Lynn as the showrunner. Let's just hope next season is better than this one. This episode opens with the bad guys, specifically Scrozzle and Evox, and then the Robo Roxy, Robo Blaze join in a little bit later. But basically we kind of get an idea of Evox's plan, a little more information about the plan that Evox created, which of course was the whole reason why he needed to capture Nate, to take some of his intelligence to help him create this dart that Scrozzle has created now to take over the Rangers' new weapon. And what new weapon is this? We don't know. We don't know yet. It's fine. Ben and Betty's dad has been working with the mayor, which of course we know is Evox, but has been working with the mayor to create a new weapon. And this new weapon is a Zord, but we don't know that just yet. Ben and Betty's dad decides to play a video, which will be the Zord. The sneak peek as they're waiting for the mayor to show up. And in all reality, what he ends up showing is Ben, Betty, and himself being terrible at martial arts. Because Ben and Betty are funny. But Ben and Betty act like their father is showing the most embarrassing thing. Like they're panicking. Like this is not just them being embarrassing around being martial artists because everyone knows they're not good at it. Hello to all of you who think that Betty is going to be the Green Ranger. Don't even know if that exists in the Sentai. But no. Absolutely not. And if that were to happen, I would stop watching Beast Morphers. Just flat out. I don't like those characters. And this scene is a prime example as to why. It's just bad, you guys. Why? The actors are fine. Well, the guy who plays their father, not a good actor. The guys who play Ben and Betty, they're fine. I have nothing against their actors, but man, the execution of those characters are terrible. Anyway, obviously Robbie's mother, not thrilled about the idea that the mayor and Ben and Betty's dad have decided to work behind her back and create a new weapon for the Power Rangers. And this becomes sort of a thing, because that's what ends up being the I'm so sorry after school special at the end of the episode, but it's... So this new Zord is a lion Zord. They used lion DNA to create this Zord. And they also had the help of somebody else that was in the show a little bit earlier on. Megan, the girl who blackmailed Zoe when she found out that Nate and her were kind of dating. That shows a whole side of Nate that I never knew existed. A very pissed off Nate. As Megan is showing them the Zord, Blaze and Roxy sneak up to the Zord and throw the dart at the Zord, which makes the Zord go haywire, and nobody can figure out why except for Nate 2 seconds later, who immediately goes, "It's obviously a virus." The commander obviously tells Devin to go and stop the Zord before it can cause any real damage. So Devin gets inside the Zord with Cruz, and they're trying to stop the Zord, but it is just too powerful. Nate comes up with an idea to possibly kind of hit it with new technology, with a new program to try and stop it from being under Evox's control. And Megan is convinced that this plan is going to not be good. So she's trying to talk to Nate, trying to talk to Zoe, but Nate keeps blowing her off and being a complete and utter asshole to her. And Zoe finally listens, but she doesn't quite believe her. Until, of course, Nate's plan does in fact backfire, because there is this automatic defense thing that turns the Zord into the battle mode Zord. And so now Devin is fighting the battle mode Zord instead of the animal mode Zord. This is when Zoe tells Nate, hey, Megan may have an idea. Megan kind of knew this was going to happen. So Nate finally decides to listen to Megan and listen to how they can stop this Zord. And so they work together to try and stop the Zord, which of course they are able to do. And that's pretty much the episode. So the final scene, of course, is Nate realizing I can be friends with Megan. And then, of course, Ben and Betty's dad apologizing for creating a Zord without her permission, which was only mentioned once. One line. And there was no reason for this moment to have happened. For him to be like, oh man, that Zord went crazy. Wouldn't have gone crazy if, I would have told you guys about it. Yeah, it would have gone crazy had you... That's not what he said, but that's kind of the only thing that my logic can come up with that indicates his thought process of, man, maybe I should have told them about this. Just not good storytelling. Also, within this episode, I just did forget to mention that Blaze, Robo Blaze, and Devin get to fight in Zords, which is fun, and then Robo Blaze is destroyed, which we'll see him next episode because we know how the destruction works with these guys this time. So there you guys have it. That is the whole episode recap of this particular episode, and it wasn't good. So again, just like last week, I only wrote down bad things. I was trying really hard to find good things, and the only things I can think of that are good are directly from the Sentai, which of course is the design of the Zord, which is going to be purely Sentai. So I can't give props to this season for that because it was from the Sentai. So one of my biggest gripes with this episode is the fact that the mayor has full access to the base, which of course in turn should tell you that Evox also has full access to the base. So why is it that Evox doesn't just do an infiltration from inside? There is no reason to pretend to be the mayor, really. He can pretend to be the mayor to get inside, to infiltrate the base, and then take down the base. It's just bad. The logic behind this makes no sense. The logic behind this is stupid, and Judlin, you're terrible at your job. Just saying. Just the whole plot hole of the mayor being Evox itself, with the fact that the mayor has full access to the base, they should have limited his access to the base, which would have been more of a drive for him to destroy the Rangers, when really he could just destroy the Rangers from infiltrating the base. He's a freaking key monster to try and get into the base a few episodes ago. That in itself should tell you that he should not have full access to this base. But guess what? He does. And it's bad. It's just dumb. It makes no sense to me. They really should have introduced the concept of this new Zord in the last episode, because otherwise the first scene really makes no sense. We have no idea what this new weapon is yet. Like, as far as I was concerned, when they were talking about it, I was like, I thought, is he trying to steal the Beast X powers? Like, I don't understand what he means by new weapon. Was it the new weapon that Nate showed in the last episode that they did nothing with until this episode? That first scene makes no sense with him saying...
with their new weapon.
There needed to be some kind of, explanation about that particular moment. Like, it just, for me, it really kind of confused me as a viewer, because I had no idea what they were talking about. So in other words, what should have happened was, the mayor, how I would have written that scene would be Evox, maybe as the mayor or as Evox, would have gone, I've been working with one of their own to create this new weapon. But of course I couldn't, you know, program it to be on our side. So we're going to have to steal it this way. Like, that's how it would have gone. Otherwise, it's also very strange that they, since he was the one working on it, that why didn't he just have it be programmed that way sneakily? But that's a whole other conversation that I don't have the energy anymore with Beast Morphers to really fight much. Like, I want to keep doing these videos, but at the same time I don't, because this is just frustrating me now. When Nate immediately realized what was going on, I felt like that was just too easy. Like, it was just like a couple of seconds. Like, at least with Billy or with the other smart Power Ranger characters, they gave them time, and then there was like this aha moment. Like, it just, I felt, the fact that he immediately figured out just is such lazy storytelling and so easy storytelling. It's like they just went, well, they need to figure it out. Well, I guess Nate's smart. He can just say it. Just, it's so upsetting. Like, it's legitimately upsetting. Like, I love this franchise so much. I have devoted so many years to this franchise, and it feels like Judd Lin is just trying to destroy it. And I'm so glad. When I say I'm glad that this is his final season, I hope the man never returns. He's been in and out the whole time. He did, you know, a lot during the first run of Saban. He did nothing until RPM of Disney. And then he came back for Dino Charge. And I feel like he's trying to destroy the franchise. Like, I never want this man to be part of Power Rangers ever again. And that's just the honest to God truth. Him as the showrunner has been destroying this franchise, and I'm not okay with it. This season has so much potential to be amazing. So let's talk about this automatic defense program that Megan installed into the Zord. My issue with this particular thing is the fact that it was already attacked with the virus. Don't you think that this system would have been smart enough if being hit by, like, basically a radio wave, wouldn't that been enough for the dart to hit it, for it to have the automatic defense system go into effect? No, because that wasn't convenient. I just, like I said, that's all I have. That's all I have. I love this franchise so much. And I want this franchise to succeed, and I want this franchise to be better. I want this franchise to look like what it did when Disney owned it. Disney did better at casting. Disney did better at fixing the plot holes. Disney did better in a lot of aspects. Sure, Disney did some pretty shitty things. You know, they did some pretty weird things that I even have problems with. I mean, Operation Overdrive, I don't like to associate with the Disney seasons, even though it is Disney, because it's not as good as the other Disney seasons. I want it to look like Time Force. I want it to look like In Space or RPM. I want it to look like those seasons. I want it to look like Jungle Fury. This could have been another Jungle Fury. This could have been such a good season, but it just isn't. And I guess, again, I get that it's 2 seasons. If this is your first time you're watching a Power Rangers video of mine, I understand seasons right now are 2 seasons. I count, as long as it is Beast Morphers, as 1 full season of Power Rangers. That's just how I am able to vocalize my thoughts on particular seasons of Power Rangers. So, just so you know, that's where I stand where that's concerned. It's 1 season. Which is weird because I do separate MMPR into 3 seasons. I don't get that at all. I'm feeling kind of lost with Power Rangers right now. I don't want to stop watching Beast Morphers because, again, I see the potential and I hope that it lives up to it. But that's all you can do, is hope that it lives up to it. So that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. Let me know if you guys liked it. It's okay to disagree with me. I'm all about intelligent conversation in the comments below. Let me know what you guys did like about it, because I would love to be able to look at this episode and feel like there's something good about it. But as of right now, I just don't see it. And I'll see you guys all next time. Bye. This episode, This episode, why can't I say opens? Okay, it's fine. Ben and Betty's dad. Ben and Betty's dad